The new Black Wall Street. Do it right, build wealth, build life, economic empowerment, real tips, insight on the new Black Wall Street. It's on the new Black Wall Street. He's your host.
Hey, grand rising to you billionaires. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the new Black Wall Street as we present you guys the Money and Power Show. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator, CEO of VRGJ Enterprises, ERGJ Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. The book that I wrote, guys, is The Study of Black Wealth. The book that I wrote is a study of the 12 richest Black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that's a big if, by the way. But if you do, I recommend that you study wealthy people. Well, the Black Billionaires Club, you can find that book by simply going to the website, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. We'll let you know we are down to our last 16 copies. That's right. So if you want the physical book, you got 16 opportunities left. We will not be printing this book anymore. Ebooks will be available, but they will be exclusive to those who actually have them. So do yourself, move quick, believe if that's something that you want to have, because I believe this book will be more valuable 5 years from now than it is today, because it's actually history. Again, you can check out the website, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up your copy today. Today's episode is being brought to you by ERGJ Black Bazaar, the Afrocentric marketplace, which specializes in Afrocentric home decor, personal care products, and also Black art-inspired gifts. Here at ERGJ Black Bazaar, we've made a pivot to be able to provide things that we need for our community here today. We do have your personal protective equipment that we've added. Also have a section for the CBD hemp products. But understand this, guys. It is August. It's the month of Black businesses. And so you actually can find other Black businesses to do business with when you come to ERGJ Black Bazaar. We do have partnerships, and we do market other businesses inside of our business, because we believe in group economics, group marketing, group advertising. We believe in a group. So if you do have a business and you are having a hard time with marketing, you want to partner with us, and we work together to build each other up, then feel free to hit us up. We'll discuss what that looks like as well. But your business could be featured in our business as we do business together. Go ahead and check us out at www.theblackbazaar.com, www.theblackbazaar.com. We want you guys to remember this, that once you shop Black, you never go back. That's right, man. Once you shop Black, you never go back, man. August is Black Business Month. Make sure you do your due diligence. You do your part, right, to support, to patronize, to do business with other Black businesses. Here's the deal, guys. We know what we should be doing. We know what we should do. Right? The question is, will we do it at the end of the day? We know what we should do. It's never a question of if we know at this point in 2020. We know what we should do. The question is, will we just simply do it? We've got to get beyond the point of talking about it, beyond the point of thinking about it, beyond the point of we should, and just simply do what we know we should do. And that's what really moves the needle as it relates to our life, as it relates to our family, as it relates to our community. It's just simply people doing what they know that they should do. Then that way they don't got to talk about it no more. That's right. They don't have to talk about it no more, man. Hey, hit the like button and share button if you care. Like button and share button if you care. Love to see who's here with us here this morning on the Money and Power Show. Go and let us know where you're connecting from. What city, what state, what country, what city, what state, what country you're connecting with us here this morning. We are broadcasting on the World Wide Web from Decatur, Georgia, where it's greater. And love to know just how far our reach is this morning here on this wonderful, this magnificent Monday. Right? Let us know where you're connected from. What city, what state, what country, what city, what state, what country here today. Let's find out who the early birds are, because the early birds get the worm. The early birds typically are the ones who make the money as well. That's right, man. Good morning to you, Queen Vivian. Billionaire Reed is in the house. Thanks so much for joining us today, man. Amanda Monopoly Hollingsworth is in the house. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the Money and Power Show. Miss Yvette Goodrich, the queen herself, has joined us. Good morning to you, grand rising to you, Miss Yvette Goodrich. Man, Aaron is in the house. Black Legacy Johnson has joined us here this morning. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the Money and Power Show. Let's say a little bit about the Money and Power Show. What we do, we talk about two particular topics that seem to have eluded us as a Black community. Those two topics are money and power. Right? Those two topics are economics and politics. Those two topics are cash flow and cash rules. Yeah, see, I ain't scared to talk about it, right? Because as a certified financial educator, I realize we need to talk about it more. Not just talk about it to be talking about it, but talk about it so that we can come to some solutions, right? To fix our cash flow and to fix the rules that govern the land in which we live. We need to talk about it more to find solutions to the problems that we see as it relates to economics and politics. Well, beautiful people, today we are going to spend our time talking about the 5 laws of gold. That's right, we're going to talk about the 5 laws of gold. And of course, this is a representation of money, the 5 laws of money. This comes from the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, which was a book written back in 1926. And obviously, back in the Babylonian times, gold was money. And gold still is money. Gold is a form of currency, it's a form of value, and it's understanding what money really is. Money is nothing more than an exchange of value for value. Currency, flow. And so we now use dollar bills, or now we actually using the credit cards and digital products more so than dollar bills. But nonetheless, it's the evolution of money. If you just, at some point, I'm going to have to do a presentation on the history of money, or the evolution of money, and where it was and where it is, and quite possibly where it's going. But nonetheless, the 5 laws of gold from The Richest Man in Babylon. Now, this book here is a book that I have recommended for over a decade to people who follow me. And what I've learned is out of those people, about 5% will get the book, about 2% will actually read the book. But nonetheless, it's a book that's near and dear to my heart because it was the book that helped me go from being a financial zero, being broke, busted, and disgusted, to actually understanding money a little bit better, managing it better, and making sure that I'll never be broke another day in my life. Now, I can tell people to do what I did, but they simply have to choose to do it. But nonetheless, I've decided to kind of read through this book with you guys, get through this thing so we get to the next book, because there are nuggets of wisdom in literature, nuggets of wisdom in reading. In the comments below, I'd like for you to share the current money book that you're reading, or the last money book that you read. What I found in life is that the people that have problems with money, they typically aren't reading things about money. They typically aren't learning things about money. And that's a big problem, because we can put the lack of financial education on the educational system, or we can put the lack of financial literacy on our very self and say, you know what, I just have not engaged in the process of learning what I don't know about money. What's going on with you, Tommy Lee? Thanks so much for joining, brother Antoine Lowry over in the watch party. Right? It's so easy to play victim as it relates to why I'm not doing well with money. But if we do it like Oprah Winfrey tells us, and take personal responsibility for our success and or failure when it comes to this thing called money, then we can say, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. If I'm not where I like to be, I'm just going to make sure I involve myself in learning what I don't know and participating in these things so I can get better. And so you can find a lot of help in the stuff that you choose to read. It's called self-education. Everybody putting comments on self-education. My mentor taught me this. He said, man, you know what? Personal, formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. And it's the things that you choose to learn that may not be institutionalized, that can help you move forward as it relates to your life, as it relates to your money, as it relates to your income, and more importantly, as it relates to the wealth that you manage. As it relates to the wealth that you manage. What's going on, Glenda Tate? Superstar student Williams in the house. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Money and Power Show. Let's pick up where we left off at on Friday, when we're talking about the 5 laws of gold. We'll cover the 5 laws again, and we'll go into depth. But understand this: there was a wealthy man, the wealthiest man in the land, and he had a son. And he said to his son, well, before I give you the estate, I need to make sure that you can handle this type of wealth. I need to make sure that you are mature enough to handle this wealth. So I'm going to send you off into the world to go make a name for yourself. But I'm not going to send you with nothing. I'm going to send you with a little starter package, right? And he gave the son a little bit of money and these tablets, which we could call the Bible. We can call, this book. We can call whatever. He gave the son some money and some wisdom, right? The wisdom was in the form of the book to read, right? In the comments below, I'd love for you to share, man. If you were going to send your child off into this world, say, you know what? Before I give you this inheritance, before I pass down this, my legacy or my estate down to you, I'm gonna send you off into the world with a little bit of money to get started, and I'm gonna send you off with this book. What's the number one book that you would recommend that your child reads before they go take on the world? Put that in the comments below. It doesn't even have to be a financial book. Hopefully, it's something that you read, not something that you just recommend that you haven't read, right? Other than the Bible, okay? Other than the Bible. Let me say that. Other than the Bible, other than your holy text. What's one book, right? The number one book that you would recommend, that you would give to your child. Say, you know what? As you go off and face this world, as you go off and you become a young man or young lady, here is some wisdom I want to put into your hands. And also here's a little bit of money so you can go out and get your, start your journey. I'm not going to start you off empty-handed. What's that book for you? What's that book for you? Doesn't even have to be financial. I just want to know what's the number one recommended book that you would have your child read before they go and face the world, other than the Bible or your holy text. Somebody give me some. What you guys got? What's that for you? Right? What's that for you? What's that for you? What's going on, Brother Calvin? What's going on, Calvin? Mr. Ellison, I got to bring you on, man. Come on, talk to the people. Right? What's that for you? What's that for you? All right, man. Brother Aaron said, man, the secrets of the millionaire mind. Man, he said, man, I'm about to send my child off, my young buck, my daddy's little girl, and she ready to become a woman. But I'm not gonna send her empty-handed. I'm gonna send her off with a little bit of money, and I'm gonna send her off this book that she got to choose to read. She gonna have to choose to read. I'm gonna have to send her off with this book. Well, man, he said, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'll send her off with that book, right? If I got one, that'd be one I'll send her off with, right? What's that for you guys? Why? We're looking at Brother Antoine Lauer with the watch party. Said, man, outwitting the devil. Now I'm gonna send my child off with a little bit of money. I'm gonna send him off with this book to help with his philosophy, dealing with his own demons. Outwitting the devil. Anybody else? It's a book that's saying, you know what? This literature, this wisdom of the ages. Other than the Bible, other than the Holy Quran, you say, man, here's a book I'm going to give my child to read as they go off to face the world. What's that for you? Right? What's that for you? Anybody else? The Black Billionaires Club. That's a book that I wrote, man, to see a depiction of wealth, of people that might look like them. Anybody else? Now, this should be pretty easy, people. I'm pretty sure all y'all read, right? When we start talking about, man, something you want to give your children. Oh, Lord, it's getting a little quiet up in here. Maybe y'all got a long book. Y'all taking a little time for y'all to type it out. Right? What's something you say, hey, man, I want to get the Tommy Lee over the watch party, The Compound Effect. Now, I haven't read that book, Tommy Lee. I had to look that up. I don't know what to say about the compound effect, but obviously it's compounding effect probably of the things that you do and how they compound into bigger things or something like that. I had to check a look and see what's going on with the compound effect. Anybody else? Right? Glenda Pippins, the purpose-driven life, right? Purpose-driven life. Said, I can't, look at that. Yvette said, I can't remember the book. I can't, okay, Miss Yvette, this your child? This your child? You can't remember the number one book? Uh-oh, that's a problem. Anyway, so the 5 laws of gold, guys. So he said, man, you know what? I'm going to give you this money. I'm going to give you this book. I'm going to give you these scrolls, which we could consider to be some literature. And you're going to go out and face the world. And here's the young buck. The young buck, he went off and he tried his hand. He took the money. He tried this. He tried that. He tried this. He tried that. Wasted the money. And here's what they say about most people. Most people, if they had the choice between the wisdom and the gold, they would what do they say? If they had the choice between wisdom and money, they would waste the money and ignore the wisdom. Now, let me say that again for the people in the back. Most people, if you gave them the choice today between money, gold, money, wealth, thousands of dollars, and wisdom, most people would ignore the wisdom and waste the gold. And it's exactly what his son did. His son went out there, didn't even read the scrolls. I'm gonna go right to it. I got a little bit of money in my hand. Let me go out here and see what I can do. Let me make it do what it do. And he ended up being broke. And then when he was broke, he said, well, I guess I ain't got nothing else to do at this particular time. I guess now I'll go ahead and read the wisdom and figure out what's going on here. What did my father give me in my other hand? And then as he read the wisdom, he said, man, if I would have read this first, everybody put in the comments, so wisdom is the principal thing. If I would have read this first, I had a choice. If I would have read this first, I wouldn't have wasted the money. If I got the wisdom first, man, this is so good. Why did I just leave this here? At least I still got it. At least I ain't break the scrolls. At least I ain't sell the wisdom off. At least I ain't get rid of the book. But if I would have read this first, I wouldn't have wasted the money. That's what he said. Now, the interesting thing is his father gave him both at the same time. But of course, like most people, you got money in your hand. Oh my, you ignore all the other stuff that people might be telling you because wisdom could represent people that's talking in your life. Wisdom could represent things that you're watching on TV. Wisdom could represent things that you decide to read. Wisdom can represent your associations. Wisdom can represent where you choose to go. He said, man, if I would have listened, if I would have got the wisdom, I wouldn't have wasted all of this money that my father gave me. Isn't that interesting? If I'd have got the wisdom first, I wouldn't have wasted the money. How many guys are in a position like that? You say, man, that's true for my life. You know what? I've lived long enough. And I realize if I would have got the wisdom first, if I choose wisdom first, it helps me out in so many different areas of my life. It helps me out in so many different areas of my life. This is a choice that you and I must make. Wisdom is the principal thing. Wisdom is the principal. Here's some other things that the good book says about wisdom. It says wisdom is far to be more desired than rubies or gold. That's what the Bible says. Wisdom is to be more desired than rubies or gold. These are things that we read, quite possibly, if we read them at all, or heard, quite possibly as well. So what was on the scrolls? What was on the tablet that this young man now is reading after he went broke? Now, most of us, we choose to listen to wisdom after we done bumped our head a couple of times. Isn't that true, right? Oh, well, I went out there, I did it my way. I was prideful, I was stubborn, I was hard-headed, I bumped my head quite a few times. Okay, now I'm ready to listen. That's how most of us are. Let's be honest. So after he went broke, he said, well, let me go ahead. I ain't got nothing else to do. I might as well read now. And he got to read. And here's what the 5 laws of gold said. Number 1, gold comes gladly. Now, when I talk gold, I'm talking money, wealth, whatever you want to say. At the time, it was gold. Now it's cash, whatever you want to call it. Gold or money comes gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family. What does that simply say? Right? Money flows to the person who will pay themselves first. Money flows to the person who will choose to pay themselves first and to build an estate for their future. In other words, you're thinking about the future and you realize, hey, I need to pay myself first now. I need to put some money into my own account now so I can be prepared for the opportunities that might come in the future. Everybody put in console, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Say, man, if I'd have read this before I start dealing with the money, I would have never lost the money. Pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Number two, the second scroll, the second little nugget of wisdom as it relates to money. Because again, it ain't a whole bunch. It's only a few. I'm telling you, we can make it all complex and all this stuff. When it comes to financial literacy, it's only a few. We just tend to ignore those few because we want it to be like, it's got to be some rambunctious thing. It's got to be more to it than this. I mean, you know what? I want to live a complex life, so I want all the instructions to be complex. But how many guys have found in your life that truth is simple? Truth is simple. It's the lies that are all combobulated. Everybody putting down, so truth is simple. How many guys have found that to be true? That truth is simple. No matter how complicated people want it to be, truth itself is simple. Truth is simple. It's not a whole bunch to it. Scroll number 2 said this. Money will go to work for you for the wise owner who finds for profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks of the field. Money will go to work for you, and it will multiply for you if you find a good place for it to go to work. Now, others will say something like this: good ground. Money will work for you if you find a great place for it to go to work. You ever thought about it like that? Everybody put God's on money works for me. Money works for me. Money will work for you if you find a good place for it to go to work. Now, some of us, as we've aged, we've begun to understand this. Like, dang, all this life, 20 years, 30 years of my life, I've been working hard for money. But now as I age, as I start to listen to these wise men as it relates to money, now I'm starting to realize I can have my money working for me. And you've gotten your money working for you. Number 3, it says, hey, gold stays or clings. It stays close to the protection of the cautious owner who invested under the advice of wise men in its handling. It basically said, man, money will stay around you if you are careful. Be careful. Everybody putting console, be careful. For the person who's careful and is willing to listen to those that are smarter than them, money will stay around. It'll hang around. It'll dwell with the people who are careful and are willing to listen. Money clings to the protection of the cautious owner. Careful. Who invested under the advice of men who are wise in its handling. Be careful. Number 4, money slips away. It leaves. From the man who invests in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. Money flies away from the person who's not careful. Money flies away from the person who is naive. Right? You invest in something that you know nothing about, or you put your money into something that has not been approved by the wise men in the handling of his money. It flies away. Matter of fact, just yesterday we had a sister that had a bad experience and talked about her experience as it relates to this blessing loom. Now, the wise men of the land have been telling people, do not get involved. But the naive people of the land, the people who choose money over wisdom, they got involved. And guess what? Some of them are starting to realize, dang, this was a bad decision. They bumped their head. Now they want to pick up the scrolls and start listening to people who've been telling them the same thing since the beginning. Do you think I have any remorse for somebody who wouldn't listen and they went out and bumped their head and they lost all their gold? No, I do not. We told you in the beginning. But money slips away. It flies away from the person who invested in businesses for which they're not familiar, or they put it into purposes which are not approved by the men who are skilled in its keep. Are you willing to listen to the advice of wise men as it relates to handling money? Most people aren't. Number 5, gold flees. It runs away from the man who would force it to impossible earnings. Oh, I can 10x and 20x and 160x my money if I go over here. Oh, okay. It runs away from that man. Or who followed the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusted to his own inexperience and romantic desires in his investment. 5 laws of go. You got to ask yourself, beautiful people, do I want to be a person who attracts money, more money, more money, more money, more money, more money, or am I going to be the person who repels it because of my own ignorance, stupidity, naivety, whatever you want to call it, inexperience, all that good stuff? Am I going to be a person who attracts to myself more money, more money, more money? Or am I going to be the person who won't listen? Now, let's go to this. It flees and it runs. Let's talk about the people who flees and runs. It flees and runs from, number one, the person who invests in businesses or purposes which he's not familiar. How many guys have gotten your money involved in something for which you were not familiar and you realize, oh, you got to charge to the game, that's money lost. That wasn't my lane. You didn't stay in your lane. Somebody talked to you about this, it ain't in your lane, it ain't in their lane neither. You put your money over there, you realize, oh, it's gone. Now you feel pretty bad. Dang, they got me again. Charges to the game. How many guys have had that happen in your life? But for the things that you are familiar, you're a hairdresser, you invest in hair, right? I don't know, you whatever you do, you're in fashion, you invest in clothes, right? You're in real estate, you invest in property, right? For the things that you're familiar, you seeing that your money keeps growing. For the things that you're unfamiliar with, you found that money to disappear, flee, fly away. How many guys have found that to be true? It flees from the person who will put that money into stuff which not approved by the wise men of the land. How many guys got people in your life that you realize, okay, they're pretty smart, they're pretty wise when it comes to money. They pretty good at keeping it. They not just getting it. They're pretty good at keeping it. They're pretty good at multiplying it. How many guys got people in your life like that you're willing to listen to? You say, you know what, you know what, Tommy? I'm thinking about doing this, Brother Lee. I got a little money coming in from my inheritance, so I got a little money coming in from this accident or whatever the case may be. I'm thinking about doing this with my money. You seem to be a guy that's wise when it comes to the handling of money. What do you think about this idea? How many guys got people in your life who are wise in the handling of money that you can go to with your ideas about what you about to do with that money before you do it? Now, in order to be that type of person, you got to be a kind of a humbling person. You got to be a person that says, you know what, I don't know it all. You got to be a person that say, you know what, I ain't got all the answers. I'd rather go somewhere and try to get some answers, try to find those answers, seek and I find, ask and I receive, than to be a person that thinks I know it all. And then I lose money. And that happened. How many guys find that to be true? I mean, you live long enough, you've experienced enough. Money runs away from the person who would force it into impossible earnings. Force it. Say, you know what? They say I got a chance. I might. I mean, if I put my money here into this lotto, into this casino, whatever the case may be, you know what? The allure of getting so much more back in return later, it's worth the shot. It's worth the risk. You find yourself in the same situation. It ran away, never came back, never won. You felt like you might win, but you just did. I mean, you kept feeling like, man, God's going to bless me this time, but you just never won. The odds were against you. How many guys have been in a situation where, you know what, says, hey, it flees away from the people who follow the advice of tricksters and schemers. How many guys have been tricked or schemed in your life before as relates to money? Now, this right here comes down to what I would call discernment, being able to recognize the people who talk about it versus the people who are about it. Let's be honest today. How many guys have been tricked or schemed and lost money? And you followed their advice because they sounded good, they looked good. They had the Rolls Royce, or maybe they didn't own it. We don't know. They were on TV, whatever. Oh, it was the preacher in the pulpit. You were tricked and schemed out of money by tricksters and schemers. You followed their advice, but now that you're older, you're like, I can recognize these type of people now. I know a trickster when I see one now. I know a schemer when I hear one now. I'm not following your advice. Been there, done that. Lost money before. Not doing it again. Huh? Then the last part said, man, listen to this. Money runs away from the person who trusted to their own inexperience and romantic desires and investment. In other words, saying, you know what? This is the person who is going to trust their own judgment. Although they're a novice in this particular area, although they've not really been through, have much experience in this particular area, it's like a fantasy. It's like, oh man, I can see it. They dream it, and they trust their money to their own inexperience and their own romantic desires. See, most of us, I'll say, we can pinpoint someone else in our life that they start talking about doing this thing, whatever it is, going this place, doing this thing with their money, and you sitting there like, how many guys have had that moment where someone's coming to you or talking about something, they might not even be asking for their advice, because most of these people don't ask for advice, they just kind of talk about it. And you be in that conversation, and you be saying to yourself, that's stupid. Like, you about to do what? That don't even sound like a wise thing to do. But they all off in their own head and their own experience, and you know. How many guys got a child or a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, someone in your circle, and you knew they about to lose money. And you also knew they ain't about to listen to you. So you just said, hey, I'll pray for you. Yeah, you about to lose some money. I mean, that just don't even sound like it's gonna work. I mean, how many guys been to say, you're like, that don't even sound like it's gonna work. Well, where do you get that idea from? Who are you talking to? Many of us have been in that situation. That is not gonna work. That ain't gonna work. Been there, done that. We might be that person, caught up in our own mind, our own inexperience, our own fantasy, our own desire, and other people looking at us like, especially the older folk, you know what I'm saying? But Big Mama and them, they like, whoo, child, I've been there. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. But I can't tell you it ain't gonna work, because then you're gonna think I'm your enemy. You ain't really in a position that you want to listen to nobody. You just gonna go out there, you're gonna face this world, and you about to catch an L. It's gonna hurt. You about to hurt yourself. Yeah, but you're not ready to listen to people that already have been there. You caught up in your own inexperience and your own fantasies and desires. So, we have to ask ourselves, well, what type of person am I going to be? Am I going to be the type of person who's going to attract what I want, attract the money that I want? Or I'm going to be the type of person who continues to repel, or money continues to fly away? See, I remember, I'll just be honest with people. I remember when I was the person who money would fly away from. I didn't want to hear nothing that nobody had to say. I mean, you couldn't tell me nothing. Although I hadn't made no money in my life, I kept thinking in my own head, I know how to make some money. Although I hadn't made, think about that for a second. I ain't made no money, but I keep thinking I know how to make some money. That don't make too much sense. Right? But I can be honest, I've been there. But then, when I started saying, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. Let me see if I can, listen to some people that's already been there, done that, find me some mentors, some coaches, not the ones that just talk about it, but the ones that can prove to me that's why I started doing the proof. I started doing proof of work. So, man, let me get around people who can prove, who can show me. I want to see, because money is, to me, it's a number. I can see it. If you got $1 million, I can see $1 million. I can count the zeros. I can put a 1 down there and give me 7 zeros. Okay, you're a millionaire. Or you own such and such, as far as your wealth is concerned. I can look at that. I can see that. If you can't show me, I wasn't really trying to listen to you. Because there are a lot of people talk. Right? Tommy Lee said, man, it's Susu. Antoine said, man, I know better not to mess with those money flyers. I invested $100 and never got my return. I charged to the game because I'm not familiar with that. And I know better, but still did. Look at that. Being honest. I appreciate your honesty, bro. Look at that. Let me repeat this again. on my watch party. Say, man, the truth. You listen to this. I know better. Many of us, we know better. I know better than to mess with those money flowers. I invested $100 and never got my return. I just had to charge it to the game. I had to charge it. And that wasn't even about what you knew, because you knew, but there's always kind of something in us, right? Something in many of us that say, maybe it's going to work this time. but at least, Brother Lowry, you were in a position where you say, you know what, I can afford to lose this $100. What about the people who can't afford to lose the $100? They're banking on, man, this is my last $100. But man, if we can turn this, it's gonna help us, a husband. If this works out for us, they clinging on it like, oh, this is our last 100. Man, we can get this thing to work for us. If this thing turns this flower open for us, we can finally get some breathing room. What about the old people? Then they don't get that money. There's your last 100, and that's what you decided to do with your last 100, was to gamble on something that is strongly against you. The odds are not in your favor. The odds nor are the gods in your favor when you gamble like that. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Not only are the odds against you, the gods are against you when you choose to gamble with your money like that. Woo, let's catch up on these comments, man. It's getting hot in here on this magnificent Monday. Be careful. That's right, man. See if you guys caught some of this stuff. You caught some of this stuff, brother Aaron, man. True for me, absolutely. Wisdom is to be more desired than rubies or gold, man. Wisdom is the principal thing. Money flows to the person who pays himself first, right? Pay myself first. Truth is simple, people. Truth is really simple, right? Money will go to work for you if you find a great place for it to go and do some work, man. Money works for me. Money works for me, man. That's right. Be careful. Be careful. It slips away from the person who is not careful, man. Attract money or repel money. It's up to you. Right, man? We lost some money over time to time. I call it stupid tax. We've all done some stupid stuff when it comes to this thing called money over our lifetime. But that's all right. Hopefully we either win or we learn. We either win or we learn. Looking for quick money causes loss too. Absolutely, man. Right, Cannon, right, too, man. Atlantic City, all right. I've been tricked, all right. I've been robbed. I'm playing numbers, right? The lottery. I used to play numbers back then. Okay, man, playing the numbers. Good morning to you, Jennifer, billionaire, Almanoids in the house. All right, fantastic. Let's keep going. Got a few more minutes here. So now he's read the scrolls. Now we get back to a little bit of the story when it comes to this young brother who was sent off into the land with money and wisdom. He chose not to read the wisdom, but to try to do something with the money, which is noble. Hey, I'm going to try. He tried, but he tried from his inexperience. He tried from being naive. He tried from what he knew versus what was in the scrolls. Went broke, right? Then decided, you know what? I guess now's the time for me to read this scroll. Then he realized, man, if I would have read this first, I wouldn't be broke. Wisdom first. It said, these are the 5 laws of gold as written by my father. I do proclaim them as of greater value than the gold itself, as I was shown by the continuance of my tale. He again faced his father. I told thee of the depth of poverty and despair to which my inexperience brought me. How many guys, you say to yourself, you know what? I done went out there in life. I done bumped my head. I had money. I done lost it. What if you had to give an account for it to your parents or the people who entrusted you? More particularly to God. And you had to go, God, you gave me some money. Lord Jesus, you gave me some wisdom. And I didn't want to read the wisdom or pay attention to the wisdom or anything like that. I went out there with the gold. And I don't even want to talk about this. It's a very different thing for me to talk about with you, Lord. But, the depth of my poverty and despair, sleeping out at night because I couldn't afford a bed to sleep on. I mean, I just was having a terrible time. This is a humbling experience for many of us. How many guys have been in a position where you were flat broke and it humbled the mess out of you? I mean, you had it going on. I mean, you thought you were the bomb diggity. Then all of a sudden, calamity came through, wiped you out, and you realize you ain't as great as you thought you were. See, sometimes many of us, we got to go through this experience of being broke, busted, and disgusted to humble ourselves. Because we think we're the bomb.com, we the bomb diggity, which you are, but we just have to level up in our mentality. We have to, mature. Right? Sometimes you got to be broken in order to be built up. So he's saying, hey man, to which the experience brought me. However, there's no chain of disaster that will not come to an end. Even destruction must stop. Mine came when I secured employment managing a crew of slaves working upon the new outlet wall of the city. Profiting from my knowledge of the first law of gold, I saved a copper from my first innings. He said, you know what? Here's how I stopped, right? Here's how I stopped purgatory. Here's how I stopped financial disaster. I got a job. And it wasn't that I just had a job, because the job was inconsequential. It's what I did with the money that came into my hand. It's the strategy that I employed that actually brought me out of financial despair. So I got a job, but I used the wisdom to pay myself first, adding to it every opportunity until I had a piece of silver. It was a slow procedure. Everybody put in console, building wealth takes time. It was a slow procedure. I know we're trying to make it go fast. I know we're trying to move it. We trying to move it at a breakneck speed. But here's the deal. Now, it's just like building wealth takes time, going into debt takes time. But most of us chose that route. We'll choose that route. We'll choose 72 months. We'll choose, 25% interest. We'll choose that over time. But when we start talking about the process of building wealth, we want to try to get that overnight. Doesn't work. Building wealth takes time. He says a slow procedure. One must live. I did spend begrudgingly, I admit, because I was determined to earn back before the 10 years were over as much gold as you, my father, had given to me. One day the slave master with whom I had become quite friendly said to me, thou art a thrifty youth who spends not wantonly but what he earns. He said, man, if somebody came to me and said, you know what, you are thrifty. Has thou gold put by that is not earning? In other words, have you saved up some money? Yes, I replied, it's my great desire to accumulate as much money to replace that which my father gave me and which I have lost. Said, man, this is a worthy ambition. I will grant. And do you know that gold which you have saved can work for you and earn much more gold? So the first step is for me to pay myself, to build up a little bit of capital in my own reserves. Then understanding that, man, what I have saved up, man, I can have that stuff working for me. He said, last, my experience has been better. Before my father's going to have fled from me, but I am in much fear lest my own do the same. Then the man said, man, if you have confidence in me, I will give thee a lesson in the profitable handling of gold, he replied. Within a year, the outer wall would be complete and ready for great gates of bronze, which would be built at each entrance to protect the city from the king's enemies. In all Nineveh, there is not enough metal to make these gates, and the king has not thought to provide it. Here's my plan. A group of us will pool our money, our gold, and send a caravan to the mines of copper and tin, which are distant, and bring to Nineveh the metals for the gates. When the king says, make the great gates, we alone can supply the metal, and a rich price he will pay. If the king will not buy from us, we will yet have the metal which can be sold for a fair price. In his offer, I recognize an opportunity to abide by the third law and invest my savings under the guidance of wise men. He said, man, I've been saving. I got me a job and I've been saving some money. And I was scared because I had already lost a whole bunch of money. I ain't want to do that again. So I ain't going to spend. I ain't going to do nothing but work and save. Then an opportunity came by. And as I was listening to this opportunity, I started to realize this is an opportunity to practice this other law that I now have understood. Now, wait a second. This might be, you mean to tell me? Yes. Isn't it amazing that once you and I decide to start saving money, isn't it amazing once you and I decide to do the first step, which is pay yourself first, isn't it amazing the type of opportunities that begin to cross our path? Not opportunities to waste the money, because see, when we were wasters, when we wouldn't save, a whole bunch of opportunities that came across your path in order to waste money. Would you agree? I mean, there's opportunities to go party every day. I mean, there's opportunities to go to the tailgate, go to the concert, go travel. There's opportunities for you to spend your money every day. But isn't it amazing when you decide to turn the corner and say, you know what, I'm going to be a saver instead of a spender, that opportunities for you to multiply your money start to come across your path, and you are in a position to take advantage of them. Isn't that amazing? That's why I said, man, a few times, but I know I would never be broke another day in my life, right? Isn't that amazing? So he said, man, nor was I disappointed. Our pool was a success, and my small store of gold was greatly increased by the transaction. In due time, I was accepted as a member of the same group in other ventures. We've done business together. We can trust one another now. We just start doing more business together. That reminds me of the Black Billionaires Club, right? So for some of us, it took us a while. I said, man, I'm going to try. Let me see. It seems to be good. Let me try. Let me put a little money out there. Let me see what happens. Oh, it was a success. Oh, man, okay, I can trust these people now. They said they was going to do something. They did it. They said I was going to do something my 100. I got my 100 back plus interest. Okay, now we're going to do it again. How many guys have found people, right, who do what they say? You've tried something, and it was a success. And now, y'all are doing it again. If that's you putting the console, do it again. See, doing it again feels so good. Because like, man, finally, I found some people I can trust when it comes to money. Finally, I found some people that have the eyes that are looking out for opportunity for us to be able to build and grow our enterprise. Finally, I found the people. See, it was easy for me to find a whole bunch of people that want to spend all the money and want to go to all the football games. It's not that we can't go to that stuff, but let's get the money first. And then, okay, now we can go to the baseball game. Isn't it wonderful to come across people who are more who think about building wealth more so than they think about spending every dime that they earn? Isn't that amazing? Wonderful. Very difficult to find. So much so, if you look at the stream, you'll see not many people are interested in talking about building wealth. It takes a little work. It takes some consistency. It's a little bit more, it ain't as easy as it is. See, it's easy to spend every dime that I have than it is actually to build wealth, to make my money multiply, to grow my capital. And because it's easier to do that, most people tend to flock to what's easy. You start talking about doing something that's going to be different than everybody else, you're only going to attract a few. And that's okay. Because it only takes a few to change the world. It only takes a few to change your community. It only takes a few to change the family. It only takes a few. Build wealth takes time, man. Do it again. Absolutely. Do it again. Let's do it again, right? Let's get the money first, right? Wonderfully fantastic feeling to get around people, right, who think build wealth first and spend everything I got. Never. Right? So he found someone that he could do business with. And he said it was good. They were able to make some profitable transactions. He said, man, that would take, in due time, he said, I accepted as a member of the same group in the other ventures. They were wise men of profitable handling ago. They talked over each plan, presented with great care. They talked over each plan, same thing we do in the Black Billionaires Club, before entering upon it. They would take no chance on losing their principal or tying it up in unprofitable investments from which their gold could not be recovered. Such foolish things as the horse race and the partnership into which I had entered with my inexperience would have had scant consideration with them. They would have immediately pointed out their weaknesses. Through my association, everybody put in console association. Through my association with these men, I learned to safely invest gold or money to bring profitable investments. As the years went on, my treasure increased more and more rapidly. I not only made back as much as I lost, but much more. Through my association, I learned Through my association, I learn. You got to ask yourself, who are you associating with as it relates to money? Through my association, I learn. And here's what I found, and as I've lived this life, it's not too many associations that are out there, that are created, that are developed, right? For you and I to learn about money. Not only just how to get it, how to manage it, how to multiply it, how to build trust with other people as it relates to money. He said, man, because of my association, I learned how to multiply money. Are you a part of any association where you're learning that particular skill? Learning how to multiply your money. Learning how to safely invest your money. Are you a part of any organization? See, we can put it on everybody else. Or we say, you know what? If I'm not a part of an association like that, let me go find one. Because they're out there. And if I seek, as the good book tells me, then I'll find. If I seek, then I'll find. In the comments below, I'd like you to share something that you learned today. Something that made a difference for you in your life. Now, I don't do this just to do this. I do this to make a difference. This is my give back, the Money and Power Show. I'm sharing with you something that helped me to go from being a financial zero to a financial hero. I'm also sharing with you how to actually read and interpret a book. Not just read it just to get through with it, but to read it, discuss it, think about it, and hopefully begin to change the ways you think as it relates to whatever subject that book is about. Wisdom can be found in literature. They wrote these things for a reason. It's up to you and I to go and find it. I'm simply asking you to answer this question in the comments below. Was this worth your time and why? Was this worth your time and why? The 5 laws of gold. Now, I know I talk much faster than you type, so I give you a few minutes to type in any feedback that you have for today. We'll let you guys know we do have a special presentation tonight for the BBC at the Black Billionaires Club if you're a part of that. We do have a brother from one of our African brothers from the diaspora to come to talk to us about African culture and Dikra symbols and things like that. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. Tomorrow, we have, we got a whole lineup scheduled. I know Wednesday, we do have one of our young BBC members that'll be teaching us the basics of Forex. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And we got Tuesday and Thursday will be business development. I forget what we're doing each one of those days. It's already in the schedule as well. So looking forward to that. We'll be having a few guests. Tomorrow we'll have brother Dr. Weathers be back on for Better Life Tuesday as far as this show is concerned. And we got a few other things that's scheduled as well. I definitely do appreciate everyone who continues to show up and support something like this. It's not going to be very popular, but that's fine. It's not going to attract the masses, but that's fine. As long as we get the few, and we can help the few change the way that they think, then we can work together to change the rest of our world. All right, Miss Tate said, man, pay yourself first and get wisdom first before investing. Absolutely. Miss Vivian Reed said, there is great get rich quick schemes. Wealth takes time. Absolutely. It's worth my time because I learned so much from you, King. Appreciate you. Absolutely, Miss Yvette. Thanks so much. Well, beautiful people, I want you to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we need. And thank God, that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
The new Black Wall Street. Thanks you for joining the show. We gave a lot of great tips, but it's time to go. Take the knowledge we shared, hope you use it and grow. We will see you all there at the next episode of The New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street.